Welcome to the Steve Reeve Podcast with the best moments from the past week and a few things that didn't make it to air. Monday.
Clickbait trends going in front of me this morning. I'm seeing a lot of articles, and this time of year is lousy for it. You know, the brand new year stuff. All the trends right at the beginning are very, very obvious as clickbait. How to tell if your plastic food containers are still safe, and where to buy new ones from us. You know, that kind of thing. What to expect, travel trends of 2025. Paid for by a travel agency, blah, blah, blah. You know, because that's how I decide where I'm going to spend, you know, a few $1,000s at least to travel to. Where's trendy this year? Where are the trends gonna be, you know? Or 6 reasons I prefer cruises with my whole family. Or even how to try predicted food trends for the year right now. Affiliate links may appear. Yeah, you gotta have your eyes open.
It's time for Cruise Music News with Steve Reeve.
Golden Globes last night in the music category. Big win for Atticus Ross and Trent Reznor for their work on Challengers. They were getting their 3rd Golden Globe win for Best Original Score, first time being in 2010 for Social Network and 2020 for Soul. My Chemical Romance's Gerard Way is joining the cast for a Dungeons & Dragons pinball machine, interestingly enough. Joining Kevin Smith, as well as Brendan Small of Death Clock fame. Big fan. And, of course, they're joining along with the singer-songwriter and the guy who is behind the Umbrella Academy, comic book anyway, for this Dungeons & Dragons Tyrant's Eye game where people will defeating the Dragon Queen Tiamat with steel ball bearings. It's going to be a lot of fun, actually. And then, looks like we might actually get new music from Jane's Addiction. But, of course, without Perry Farrell. I say without because yesteryear was a time when they decided to reunite after a long time, put out their first new music together in 34 years. Put out a single called Imminent Redemption with the original lineup all reforming. But in September on their North American tour in Boston, there was a physical altercation on stage with Perry Farrell punching Dave Navarro in the face. The tour was canceled. The band announced the hiatus, but they have just been teasing of late that new music might actually still be happening. Sans frontman.
You're listening to the Steve Reeve Podcast from 100.5 Cruz FM.
Nobody said resolutions have to be helpful. I do encourage you to stick to the new and healthier habits that you want to be making in your life right now. Genuinely. Sincerely, like there's no joke there. But I on the side of that, beside that, adjacent to, I want to remind that those New Year choices don't always have to be the bowl of broccoli version. Sometimes they can be the bowl of ice cream. You know? 3 scoops, just, no broccoli ice cream. I feel like that's crossing a line. Is Trudeau stepping down? There is a buzz in Ottawa this morning as things reconvene after the holidays and after Trudeau said that he would be spending time reevaluating things for himself politically over the holidays. It's a very real possibility. People are really keyed into right now that a vote of non-confidence, which has been threatened lately, will not be necessary to upheave national leadership. But the real issue is, what are all the people whose entire personality as an F. Trudeau bumper sticker going to do with their entire lives now? It's going to take a while to figure that out, I think.
Tuesday.
Walter White's house, you know, Breaking Bad fame and everything, up for sale. It's another one of those cases of a famous movie or TV house or location that's getting a lot of attention because, it's up on the market. We can all dream or fantasize or imagine. But really, I mean, why are they selling it in the first place might be a real deterrent from any potential new owners. They say that they've had enough with the 100 people or more per day that take photos out front. There it is. The solution, however, is obvious, I think. They're selling it. This could be an opportunity to start charging. Get some pipe and drape, cover the perimeter, charge cover to get in and take photos, blue rock candy for those waiting in line, and if you want to throw pizza on the roof, you can go ahead, but that's a premium. This is wild. Apparently, developers accidentally, and that is put in air quotes in the article I was reading, demolished a home that was the site of the youthful growth of the members of AC/DC, Malcolm and Angus Young. It was their childhood home. They say that they're genuinely sorry for the oversight. News.com.au from Australia says that it was on Burleigh Street in Sydney's inner west, bulldozed in recent weeks, and was purchased, I guess, last year for $5.8 million, but it was on the National Trust list of historic homes about 10 years prior to that, so it should not have been demolished as it was. Wonder if it actually was an accident. I guess we'll never know. The Edge has now teased that maybe some new U2 music is on the way. Guess they got inspired by their tenure at the Sphere. They did put out a song in 2023, just a standalone single, but this does sound like it might be a little bit closer to a new album being released. But no official word. Stay tuned. Again, stay tuned for Tom DeLonge's tease of more Blink-182 live shows. Says that spring break is being targeted for 2025, and specifically Tom DeLonge says that they miss us bleepers. Aw, isn't that sweet? Trudeau making a big wave yesterday. Prime Minister saying that he will be resigning later. It's more like, we've got plans to make plans. But he specifically said after a new Liberal Party leader is found. Sounds like some prophetic quest when you say it like that. You know, the new leader must be found. Lisan al-Kanadib, or something Dune-like. But really, the process is going to be quite dull in and of itself, I'm sure. They should spice it up, though, you know? They should do it like Death Race style, or like a harrowing and dehumanizing reality TV show competition. Or giant foam Q-tip fight on a high beam gladiator style. Or no, I know. How about just like a basic test of human competence? Yeah. Human compassion too, but you know, only if there's time.
Wednesday.
The big question this morning, as it is Wednesday, back to it. Which United States should become the 11th province? You have so many to choose from. You want to go something on the Pacific side of things, you know, maybe connect up with Washington, get some Seattle coffee into our veins. I don't know. Maybe we want something in the Midwest. Maybe we need some Minnesota in our lives. Maybe you want to just make sense and just put Alaska right in there. Maybe it doesn't become a province necessarily. Maybe it's the fourth territory. I am from the 80s after all. But really, truly, honestly, I do want your answers. I think we're going to have some fun with this. But in reality, we shouldn't be merging with the U.S. or vice versa. I mean, how else would we keep our smug sense of Canadian common sense superiority? And what other country are the Americans going to sew the flag of on their backpacks when they travel? Well, starting off with a big accolade for Lady Gaga, who has now become the third ever act to get multiple number one songs in 3 different decades. Her output has slowed down of late, but of course she did collaborate with Bruno Mars for the song Die With a Smile, with an association with the Joker 2 soundtrack. And it has finally, after 5 months since being released, hit number 1 spot on the Billboard charts, making it official. Congratulations. Alice in Chains has got maybe some connections going on with James Hetfield and Metallica about making some music together. Apparently, Jerry Cantrell of Alice in Chains has talked to members of Metallica, and they jammed a little bit and talked about making some official music together. Says it's something I'd be very curious about, talking in an interview with Metal Hammer magazine just recently. And Liam Gallagher of Oasis fame has commented on a leaked set list that people are alleging is going to be the basic fundamental skeleton for the Live in 25 tour, the reunion tour for Oasis, the brothers Gallagher, together on stage once again. Is it legitimate? Well, his answer, it's not far off. I guess it's as close of a confirmation as you're going to get.
Thursday.
How's this for futuristic, or maybe just very retro? I'm not quite sure. A class now being offered at a college in the UK, Nottingham College, that's going to help people with their phone calls. It's basically practice on how to make phone calls. And I'm not sure if I hate it or if I think this is actually a really, really great idea, because some people just don't even know how to handle a phone call whatsoever, even once they're making one. You have to say hello, you have to say goodbye, things like that. But a lot of people do face legitimate anxiety when it comes to making a phone call, and that's really what the class is about. It's not just for, here's a skill that doesn't exist anymore, you need some help with it. No, it's for people who know how the phone works. It's just how do they actually bring themselves to place the call. And it's got suggestions, role-playing, practice, things like that, and even homework, like calling different places that are where you live and asking simple questions to test boundaries in bite-sized ways, the professor says. I gotta say, you gotta get your practice with crank phone calls. Crank phone calls. Really push your limits. Because just calling local shops to ask about hours or restaurants or, you're just checking if an item is in stock when you don't actually plan to shop there, that's not just a waste of their time. It's an unfunny waste of their time. There are a lot of cool things that are, I'm sure, going to appear on the list for Record Store Day 2025. No word just yet. The only thing we have found out is the official date. The worldwide celebration of the indie record store will be happening April 12th. And we're, of course, going to have more news about that as we get a little closer to it, and about how you can get involved right here in town. Aerosmith, sidelined for a moment, but their bassist, Tom Hamilton, is getting cozy with the Plan B rock band Close Enemies, with Peter Stroud, Trace Foster, and Kurt Chasen Hampton, as well drummer Tony Brock. I mean, that's just a cool group of names, for sure. But they are going to be debuting in Boston on an 8-day tour. And recently, in the announcement, he's also been talking about some of the past with Aerosmith, his battle with throat cancer, and, of course, his determination to keep the music going despite those challenges. Sir Rod Stewart, celebrating his 80th birthday over the course of 10 days with his family on a $150 million super yacht in the Barbados. That sounds like a heck of a celebration, but hey, it's not every day. Octogenarian officially.
Friday.
Did you know about the giant alcohol cloud in space? Space. With enough ethanol in it to equate to 400 trillion pints of beer, apparently. It feels like an American measurement for it. Like anything but the metric system. But it's far from the first alcohol cloud discovered in the universe. It's a known thing that happens, building blocks of new stellar systems and things like that. But a new one was clocked last year with the help of the NASA Webb Telescope. We talk about high-tech, space-age technology and the future ability to mine asteroids for precious metals and other rare compounds. Why aren't we also putting a keg tapper on the cosmos, There's been an outpouring, of course, of reactions, of a lot of emotions and unsurety when it comes to the wildfires in L.A., a lot of different musicians, musical acts, and people in the industry, of course, very much affected by it. And people like Billy Corgan, for instance, among many, many others, of course, sharing their thoughts and reactions about it on the internet. The fires touching every strata of society, he says, and that's true. I mean, we've heard a lot about celebrities' homes in the area of the Pacific Palisades and things like that. Very, very rich people, affluent communities and things. But no, it's not just that by a long shot. There's been just thousands and thousands of structures, and everybody, involved, absolutely affected by it. He also sends love out to the first responders who courageously run into those situations, something that is echoed by many. In other news, the White Stripes have just announced the 20th anniversary reissue of Get Behind Me, Satan. It's been 20 years since that came out, and there's going to be a ton of extra stuff in there, songwriting demos, alternate takes, live versions, as well, of course, just the original at the same time. That's going to be a little bit later on. If you want to get it, it's directly from Third Man Records vault, and their subscription service, so it's not actually just going to be in stores, and you got to be in on it before January 31st to even have access. And in the UK, a very tiny stage that saw the likes of Oasis, Radiohead, the Stone Roses, and other absolutely huge bands before they were quite so huge in the early 90s, and one that had been in place since the 1950s, disappeared in 1995. Not really, but it sort of disappeared when it was extended. Apparently, due to a fundraising event, they just got the money to refurbish. They uncovered the carpet. They saw the old stage, signatures on it, and all a blast from the past. A lovely surprise, the general manager says at the venue.
It's time for a local wild card. Steve introduces you to a local musical act from right here in our community and talks about our Fort Mac music scene.
We're here into a brand new year and a brand new slate for what was a new feature on the show on Fridays, trying to get in touch with our local music scene here in Fort McMurray, Wood Buffalo area and, northern Alberta. Get a chance to talk today to Sean Maynard with Supermodel Taxidermy. How are you doing?
Not too bad. Thanks for having me on the show, Steve.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you on the show. You play heavy stuff, some metal music, which unfortunately we don't get enough of a chance to play here on Cruz. We kind of dip a toe with Metallica and everything. That doesn't mean that there isn't incredible metal and heavy music being made here in town. How long has Supermodel Taxidermy been a unit?
This actually started as a COVID project. I
you go.
was just running a solo thing in my basement for a way to keep my mind busy, and after it was done, I decided to take it to the studio. I couldn't get anybody in town to play with me, and it was just 100% for fun.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I decided to release the album, it gained a lot of traction, and we haven't looked back. I have the same guys in the band that I recruited in the beginning, and yeah, we move forward every day.
Yeah, that's crazy. And it's how much creativity came out of us all being cooped up over the pandemic years, for sure. And a lot of, emotions, a lot of frustrations that were going on. You guys were able to release a new album last year as well, and you brought in a copy for me. I'm so thrilled. At what cost? It's hard to, I think, distill an entire album, an entire idea into, a sentence or two. But what was the impetus? What was the kind of the main driving force with At What Cost?
In general, the songs were just personal experiences and stories that we derived from our own lives, and from there, the music we've pushed out with it is one thing, but the stories in it they really touch home, and they're part of us. So each song has a different meaning in the track, and you're going to have to just go through it to find out.
Yeah. Listen to the whole thing. That's what it's there for. But it wasn't just a new album that was on the books for Supermodel Taxidermy in 2024. Can you give us like a snapshot? It was a very busy year. You said it was a busy year of grinding. What were you guys up to?
Last year, we signed a record deal with Punishment 18 Records. We signed up with them. We released the album. I think we have 2 music videos that came out of 2024. We did some touring in Western Canada. We promoted a local festival here in town. That would be the 2nd annual. It was called Party in the Park.
Yeah.
So we brought in people all from across Alberta, actually, and it was a hit. I think we'll be looking forward to doing it again this year. But on top of that, we did receive the Ken Flaherty Music Award here in town at the Buffys this year.
Yeah.
Oh, we were featured in a book. Our artwork off of this album was just published in a hard copy book. I received mine last week.
Just last week, yeah. Holy cow. The busyness of 2024, all the grinding, still returning dividends. I was there in the audience for the Buffys when you won the Ken Flaherty Music Award. Big hoots and hollers, big cheers, and I think very deserved, and putting out such tight produced work in town. It's just really, really impressive to me. What's coming for 2025? I'm sure that's a huge question. Tough to answer this early into January, but I'm sure there's got to be some plans in the works.
We do. We're currently writing, and there are some plans. A lot of what you see now has been summed up in the past. So we are now in the middle of writing, which means next year you're going to see all this and it'll look like we're fresh and hot, but really we're just on to our new... We got a couple singles coming out, and we're going to be working our way through the rest of our next album.
Keep ears and eyes out for news about another Party in the Park.
I think you can expect that in our future, yes.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to put you on the hook for anything, but I feel like it was beloved, and I think that people would love to see it come back again. Where can people find you and get into some Supermodel Taxidermy music?
I think all you got to do is type our name into the internet. You'll find us on Facebook, Instagram, any music platform out there. and we're around.
Making it as easy as possible. Just put those two words together like nobody else has, and you'll find
we
them.
pretty much own that corner. And speaking of live shows, if I can just put this out there, on February the 6th, we are playing here in town with a touring band out of Vancouver, and it'll be at the One Love Tattoo Music Hall below the keg.
That's so cool. Well, thanks for taking the time this morning. I know it's brief, but show some love for Supermodel Taxidermy as soon as you can, and keep your ears out for more being released, as well as live shows so you can actually experience it in person with the energy of the crowd. Thanks, Sean, for coming by.
Transmission over. Want more Steve? New podcast episodes happen every Friday, or just tune into the Steve Reeve Show. Weekday mornings starting at 5:30 a.m. on 100.5 Cruz FM.